Hello, church family. Ashley here, continuing us in our exploration of the Psalms. We find ourselves on day 116, so we're going to take a look at Psalm 116. Before I read it, I want to draw our ears to the simple and sweet theme of thankfulness. In its simplest form, Psalm 116 is a thanksgiving psalm, one that celebrates deliverance from a specific event for one person. But this psalm has so much more wisdom to share with us. Let's take a look. Psalm 116. I love the Lord, because he has heard my voice and my pleas for mercy. Because he inclined his ear to me, therefore I will call on him as long as I live. The snares of death encompassed me, and the pangs of Sheol lay hold on me. I suffered distress and anguish. Then I called on the name of the Lord. O Lord, I pray, deliver my soul. Gracious is the Lord, and righteous. Our God is merciful. The Lord preserves the simple. When I was brought low, he saved me. Return my soul to your rest, for the Lord has dealt bountifully with you. For you have delivered my soul from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from stumbling. I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. I believed even when I spoke, I am greatly afflicted. I said in my alarm, all mankind are liars. What shall I render to the Lord for all of his benefits to me? I will lift up the cup of salvation and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. O Lord, I am your servant. I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have loosed my bonds. I will offer to you the sacrifice of thanksgiving and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of the Lord, in your midst, O Jerusalem. Praise the Lord. Let's go back up to the top, friends, and take a look. As we mentioned, Psalm 116 is a thanksgiving psalm that celebrates deliverance. As we have seen in other psalms like this, there is a rhythm that we can follow. First, there is a proclamation of praise that is contained in verses 1 and 2. I love the Lord, and I will call on him as long as I live. See it here? These are powerful declarative phrases that the psalmist is making. Next, we gain insights into the reason for his praise. He has heard my voice, inclined his ear to me. We can feel the incredibly personal nature of the praise. Words like my voice, to me. We have seen psalms that are offering thanksgiving for the Lord's provision for an entire people, but this feels more like David and his intimate conversations with God. Verses 3 through 6 lead us through the deliverance as experienced by the psalmist. We hear lament through words like snares of death, distress, anguish. See it here? We then hear about the petition to the Lord. I called on the name of the Lord. Deliver my soul. And then, no surprise here, captured is the Lord's response and rescue. He saved me. But don't miss the absolute truths here about who we know the Lord to be. Notice that the statement of who he is, gracious, righteous, merciful, come before the acknowledgement of being saved. God is who he is, no matter the outcome. And sometimes we have to dig deep to remember that. But that truth is where rest and peace come from, friends. Verses 7 and 8 may be my favorite. Notice the feel of a pep talk that the psalmist gives himself. Return, O my soul, to your rest. It sounds a little bit like a command. He also reminds himself where he's come from. It's a balanced message of not just don't forget, but also to enjoy the peace that comes from the act of remembering. As we near the end of the psalm, we hear a renewed vow of praise. I will call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord. This is capturing that his thankfulness to the Lord is going to be poured out over a lifetime of praise, not just a moment. It will continue, and specifically in this psalm, it will continue in a public way. Notice that it says, in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of the Lord. Because all of the people of God benefit from such a testimony of God's deliverance. A final thought, friends. What if giving our testimony, one similar to this psalm, remembering our life's experiences, expressing simple thankfulness for how the Lord delivered in that season, a public retelling of our stories to those around us, what if it is a gesture of love to the Lord? What if it is an expression of our commitment of our whole life to him? A reoccurring confession and testimony. If that's true of what our testimony represents, how more often would, could, should we tell people about our God and his son Jesus and his movement in our lives? How much more often can the love that is in our hearts flow out of our mouths? As the psalmist says, I love the Lord because he has heard my voice and my pleas for mercy. Because he inclined his ear to me, therefore I will call on him as long as I live.